My grandparents purchased this land back in the time of 1900, coming from Germany. I grew up as a young boy coming and vacationing at my grandmother's house, which is close to us here. I learned to love the rivers and streams, and I had hoped that one day I could work on them. Beautiful water like this is not found everywhere. We sort of think, well, it'll always be here. Now I'm looking at places where I know streams do not exist anymore. And if those streams have disappeared, why? This lake was lapping up right about here on the shoreline when I started working here. See, 1989. You can see where the high water mark is at the tree line. I saw it at about right here where we're standing. Our average rainfall precipitation is around 30 inches per year here. Even despite that, the water seems to be reducing in all of our streams. Why did this lake dry like this or recede in levels? I honestly have a feeling that the enormous number of wells in this area has some effect on it.
So the central sands of Wisconsin is the most heavily pumped region of the state. In the three counties, Portage, Waushara, and Adams, we pump about 20% of the state's water here. And groundwater is connected to surface water. You can't take water out of the ground without lowering water levels someplace and taking water out of streams someplace as well.
If I were to try to keep up with the number of wells that are being placed in the earth, mainly for irrigation purposes, it's just astounding. We now are at and around the vicinity of 3,000 wells out here in the central sands, and those wells are deep wells which have a capacity of around 1,000 gallons per minute. We are putting too much demand on our water.
As we take a look here, we can see where the water level was at one time. This is where the town installed a boat landing. Or right here, you can see that we're about even where the larger trees are. And now we have to go, oh, I don't know, another good 100 feet if somebody wanted to try to launch a boat here. So it's kind of a fossil or extinct boat landing that we haven't had a need for 10 years probably. If we look around to where the docks are here, you know, and where the boathouses are, that sort of thing, you can see where the lake level was a good chunk of the time. And if you look where we are right now, we're substantially below there. We have water in the aquifer, and effectively we're bringing it up out of the surface and we're putting it onto the land to grow crops. And a certain amount of that is perfectly fine and it's perfectly sustainable. We just have had 50 years without doing the math. We haven't done the math at how much water we can sustainably pull out of the ground to have the farm part of our economy, as well as the municipal and the industrial part of that. And we need to do that math.
We don't know exactly what the long-range effects will be.
A lot of nitrogen from fertilizers and some pesticide residues end up migrating through the soil and getting into the groundwater. And there's a fair number of people in the central sands that have water that they shouldn't be drinking because it exceeds the nitrate standard, for instance.
I had a man that lives near here tell me recently that when they examined their water, they determined they just could not use it. It's also questionable whether you can even use it for bathing because of the chemicals. This is one of the reasons now that realtors say it's hard to sell property here because of the groundwater contamination. We aren't standing still, we're changing things, and that change is gradual and slowly creeping up.
It seems to me that there is a place where we can have healthy lakes and streams and productive agriculture. I suspect it does not mean that everybody who wants to use as much water as they want can continue to do that. You know, according to Wisconsin law, this belongs to all of us here. It's something that we ought to put a little bit of time, a little bit of effort, understanding where we want to go with our waters in our state here. It's a resource that doesn't just take care of itself.